So,
Is Tim coming?
I've not heard.
Okay, because if Tim doesn't come, then we won't do chapter one.
If Tim doesn't,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, so, all right, so it's 6:32, we're gonna call this 6:33, I'm gonna call this to order. So, yeah, Matt, I don't know if he's going to be here or not, we have not heard from Peter, and Tim, if Tim's not here, then we probably won't be doing chapter 111. No, it is not on the agenda, it was under old business, and I just neglected to include it, but if, it's something we need to get going, so I don't,
Yeah, that's right, we had talked.
yeah, we were supposed to do it at the last meeting. Tim was not ready for it. Tim and Gina had said they needed some more time, so we said, okay. And it should have been pushed onto this one, but it's not. So, public comment. Gentlemen, you have anything you want to talk now, or are we here for, okay. All right, so thanks, Tim. No public hearings and no appointments. Just so you know, I did send you all the letter that we received from Michael Swisher. We did recommend him for the alternate position. And, once he's elected by town council or appointed by town council and sworn in, then he will be here as another alternate. Statutory business advisory, we seeing none. We can go right to new business. Dawn, if you'd like to join us. You guys, in your packets, you have we've talked about this before, the Severance Bridge canoe launch. It's become quite severe. And that prompted Dawn's letter. In your packet, there's a letter, and Dawn's provided us some pictures of what the canoe launch looks like now. And yeah.
Just a heads up, can you just be careful when you're hitting the microphone, it's really loud.
Sorry.
Okay.
It's okay.
Oops.
So if you
All right. Yeah, the red light's on.
Green light?
Green light. You all got to sign in too,
Well, where's the,
eventually. Sorry.
here's the ribbon.
So, if you recall, last year, we put together this plan. It's on.
It says push here, there you go.
Oh, the green light's better.
Later.
Brighter. So if you recall last year, we had the plan put together that you see before you, which was basically a composite of different plans, and the GIS topo that we had at the time. So we put it together. This is for planning purposes, basically. And we had discussed at that time the possibility of being able to move the canoe launch from Severance Bridge Road into this area here. It hasn't gone any further than that, and a couple of weeks ago I had a work order. When they hit my desk, it's usually not a good thing, as you saw from the pictures. It hasn't gotten any worse, but we're going to either have to fix the erosion or be able to put the canoe launch there. I only have a very small amount of money, and it's got to go one place or the other. I don't have enough to go both places. So I need to have a little bit of direction. What were you thinking about this property? Were you still interested in doing any type of canoe launch? Obviously, if you look at the topography, it's quite steep along the Sauhegan River, so that means in order to do a canoe launch, we're going to have to go back at some distance, whether we put a parking lot up in the front. I don't believe we would really like to have a parking lot half a mile back in the woods. That probably would not be a good thing to do. But then
Unless you're trying to schlep a canoe back there.
But then the other thing is you're carrying a canoe that far, so, we have to weigh a lot of different things. But I have not done any design or looked at it any further than this, but I'm being prompted at this point to do something.
So the work to fix the original, I know that's been tried a couple times. There's been a lot of riprap poured down there, and
They did an area up further,
Right.
closer to Amherst Road, which seems to be holding quite well, and I think you can, if you can't see it in the pictures, I do have pictures of that also. But this, I don't know how much work has been put into this particular area. And what I did do is I've put barriers up, so you can no longer drive a car down, because that's one of the concerns if somebody was going to actually go down and go over the banking with a vehicle.
isn't there, there's almost a parking lot on the other side now?
Correct.
On the other side of the road.
Yes. Yes, and you can, it's steep, but you can still be able to drop, area big enough to drop off a canoe and then park across the street. It's small, it doesn't fit very many vehicles. It's not a good place as far as cars and traffic.
Neither side is,
Correct.
yeah. So what would you, you know, obviously you haven't done a lot of plans yet, I know, but what would you do down there that would actually fix this? Because I know they've dumped some riprap before, and it's caused a lot of eddies and done
Yeah.
as much damage as they did good, so. Is there,
We would have to either do bigger stone, bigger riprap, do some type of a wall. And if you wanted to be able to have people walk down through there, then that's gonna add another whole
yeah,
layer into this. You know, I can stabilize the bank, but that would be stabilizing the bank, and you won't be able to bring a canoe down that section anymore.
So what role does DES have to play with us playing down near the river?
Well, we'll have to apply for the permits when whatever we decide we're going to do. At this point, they are not aware of this, as far as I know. But we wanted to be a little bit proactive, because I don't want to lose the whole area into the river, for sure. One of the foremen said that it has been like this for quite some time, so this isn't new or due to any storm. I did go by in Thursday night's storm, and it appears right now that what we've done on the road is no longer directing drainage down in this particular area, so we're one side and the other. So that's a good thing. But, so I think now it's a matter of people dragging their canoes down in this area and pulling all the silt and the sands with them as they go. Because it's the only place you can actually walk down.
So our intent was to look at it two ways. So we had some meetings with Kyle a couple of years ago to discuss opportunities to put a canoe launch out on Fields Farm, or to fix this spot. Members of SORLAC got involved, the Sauhegan River or Local Advisory Committee. And then also, what's the other Sauhegan group? George May is kind of tied to both of them.
Riverkeeper there, or what's
Yeah,
that? River?
yeah, so I think,
So he can water.
Yeah,
Shed
East
is-
Sorlac,
Solak.
well, SORLAC is one,
right.
but I thought there was two of them, but maybe I got it mistaken, so,
There's one for the Merrimack River,
yeah, okay.
but I don't know a
Alright.
second one for Sauhegan.
Right. So, you know, George was of the opinion, well, let's do both, because he didn't want to lose the spot by the bridge. And, you know, it's got history and all of that, and it was kind of functional. But, so we started to think, okay, what do we do on Fields Farm? But what's delayed us is volunteer power or energy to do it, as well as we were trying to put a subcommittee together so we could kind of look at the whole parcel and not do this outside of the whole parcel. That way we don't do something that later we regret. So, since then, the committee's been, you know, technically chartered, but there are no members of it. It's not meeting. We haven't put any members on it, so I know I've been down by the river along a lot of this, and we have huge issues with terrain. Almost the whole property until you get to where it gets really to where the flood area is. And then you really can't do nothing in there because, you know, in the spring, it's gonna be completely overwhelmed, and then, yeah, you can use it at some point, but whatever you do there, you have to do way off, way back.
Right,
For it to sustain the floods from year to year, so,
and that's my point.
yeah.
That's what I saw when I
So,
saw the plan put together.
so the only thing that I saw that could potentially make sense is to do something like they did off of, Boston Post Road, near the Sauhegan High School, where they have kind of a step system that takes you almost all the way into the water. Have you ever gone
Yep.
there?
Right by the bridge there?
Yeah, by the bridge, yeah. And, you know, some way to incorporate a step system into the bank
Mhm,
of the river to get you
Right.
close.
So,
Exactly.
do you remember when James Jolly came before us with this as a project, as a scout project?
Yeah, no, I don't recall, but
So,
yeah.
so we had an Eagle Scout come to us a while ago,
Mhm.
and, you know, because he's a sophomore, junior now, and he was in high school, so it's been he came before us about this, and he wanted to build a set of
Oh,
steps.
in there, right, yeah, yeah.
And so we did go, DES does know about this, because we went and asked them, what's gonna take to do this scout project? I mean, so they were,
It's not the new,
Right.
what's happening on the river
right,
now.
so
but
they were,
they're-
someone, Lori put us in touch with somebody, and
Mhm.
she said, yep, very familiar with that. That's gonna be a big deal. There's gonna be
Mhm.
a lot of permitting to get, because you're gonna have to sink things in the waterbed, in the riverbed, to make that sustainable.
Mhm.
Because of the slope, so it's, you're really in bad shape.
Mhm.
So, we're, that's why I was gonna say, what was your plan? Because boy, I think this is gonna be a big project, bigger than we really are thinking.
Which one?
Well-
No, doing this. Doing this it's gonna be a big project, but it's gonna be, you know, I think it's gonna be more logistics. You're gonna have to, you know, where would we park some cars, and where would we have a
Yeah,
road,
it's
or
kinda-
walkway to get down there? Because I agree with you. I think someone's got to park and walk a canoe quite a ways.
Quite a ways, yeah,
I
unless,
don't think,
Those
because
are-
you're not gonna be able to put parking
Doesn't really make sense.
down in here at all.
So over here is,
you can get closer.
You can get closer, but you'd have to be, to have a slope that's not great, you'd have to be starting way over here.
Mhm.
And now you're making a huge road right through the center of this whole parcel, which I'm like, yeah,
It's basically what I was
yeah.
looking at, yeah.
so the rapids that are before Indian Ledge, they're after the Fields Farm Conservation Area? There's like a set of rapids, and then there's, before you get to Indian Ledge, after you go through, under the
Yeah.
bridge,
Yeah.
They're down,
they're down, and then there's a set of rapids,
they're down
and
here.
then you hit Indian Ledge, they're further down, right, yeah.
Well, yeah, Indian Ledge is down where the Meridian area is.
Down, it's way
Yeah.
down here.
Oh.
And yes, the rapids are right there too.
But there is some more rapids heading, basically, heading up here, there is some more rapids in here too. It's fairly calm through
Yeah.
here,
See, that's why
but here there is,
Indian Ledge is,
I wouldn't say rapids, but there's certainly
Yeah,
rocks and things in the
yeah,
river.
there's good.
So
rapids.
especially
And
in the low water
Yes,
conditions.
and certainly when you get down here, there's
But then,
there's
yes, down here,
considerable.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
down here, you know, it's what, class 3 or class 2 rapids or
Yeah.
It's
something
a
like
class
that,
3
so
drop.
you wouldn't wanna be messing in there. Most people
We-
portage around it or don't go that far, that's why they wanna get out over here, so they don't have to go so far.
This DPW a long time ago had a picture of someone's canoe, an aluminum canoe that was really wrapped around a boulder. It got sideways and just whoosh, right around the boulder. So I mean, there's water flow. I mean, there's considerable water flow.
So, but, so yeah, we're talking a long road and a parking spot and a project just to get down to the river,
Mm-hmm.
so.
You're obviously gonna be the most familiar with this right now. This Woods Road that's here?
Yeah.
What kind of, is it really there?
Yes. Is it a road? No, it varies from 2 feet wide to about 5 feet wide.
What's it like?
He's talking, there's
you
a
look
woods road right in here. It was put in by the previous owner of the property so they could get around. So,
is it-
so in some places it's, do you think you could portage all the way around? You mean carry all the way in?
It's too, it's too
No, I'm just
far.
thinking, what's the, I mean, if you walked in, is it, I grant that it's smaller right now, but if
You-
it was
you-
wide enough, is it drivable? Is it a,
No, not at all.
So,
it's not, and it's.
So
it's steep.
there'd be a wetlands, there'd be a stream crossing that's not shown here.
Oh, okay.
so it seems like it's
There's a
not,
number of stream crossings
Yeah.
across this property that aren't shown on there
Yeah.
yet,
it seems like
And that
Fields
was
Farm is
beyond the
not
scope
really
Right.
of the work.
feasible and practical for,
Well,
I mean, who's
depends
gonna,
on- depends how big of a project we wanna make it.
So no matter what we do, we're gonna have to have the proper permitting, obviously,
Yeah.
Yeah.
to do anything, anywhere. But I think both of them are gonna be very large undertakings, and
Yeah, so.
I only have this much.
Yeah,
So-
see, I'm kind of, in my mind, I'm of the inkling that if we're gonna spend money on a road project or something like this, that we should do the one on Greater Woods before we do this one. I think
Yeah.
I think it's more important, because it's emergency access, it's fire prevention access and all that.
Yeah.
If we're gonna, because we're looking at spending, upwards of $100,000 to do this.
Easily.
Yeah,
Easily.
yeah, so with that said, I would much rather put the money into Greater Woods. I think that's more important. It's an existing area that has a problem. This is creating a new one, and yeah, it's unfortunate down by Severance Bridge that canoe launch is a problem, but, I mean, you could technically just take it away. Not that everyone would be excited about that.
people will probably still try to use it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because people know about it, so they will. Or they'll take out on the other side. They'll go to the other bank, the opposite bank, because you can, if you want to, if you're strong enough, you can kind of wiggle your way up that bank.
Yeah, the other side is not as steep as this
Right.
side is.
It's not. No, it's just that you have to go over the guardrail and all that too.
Because I was kind of looking over on that side,
Mhm.
and it would be nice if we had some land over there. but-
Yeah, right, that's
Are we
the other
gonna
thing. I don't know who
get-
owns that property,
Right,
so.
I think it's privately, and
Yeah. So then the other option is, I think we own a piece of land right on the opposite side of the bridge, the downriver side of the bridge too. I don't know what that looks like. I haven't really paid attention to it, so, excuse me. So
I didn't know that.
I think we do. I think we own a piece of land right there. But have to go back and look. I have to crank up my computer. We would know, wouldn't we?
I was gonna say, I probably wanna look over it.
Would it be on the list of yeses?
It probably would be, so. Our other project we're working, so, but, yeah, I don't see us doing something on Fields Farm without spending a lot of money. I'd rather go after grants and other help, because it's possible we can. To put in a canoe launch, I'm sure there's organizations out there that might
Yeah,
help.
it's a riverfront.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I think there'd be a lot more interest, grant-wise.
yeah, but that's not something we're prepared to do in the next year. At least I don't have the energy to do it with everything else we already have in play. So, unless someone else wants to take it on.
Because you're gonna be the chairman of the subcommittee, so.
So Greater Woods it is?
Yeah, I mean, I hate to put it off, but
Yeah,
So, why are we ruling out repairing the current access?
we're not,
I'm not,
we're not.
just, we were thinking just of more of economy of scale. I mean, if DPW's already got money to spend, and we have money to spend, we could kind of pool resources and do it here and abandon this. But
We
it's,
can't answer that now, right? Yeah,
well,
But-
I don't think we can answer the yes now, but we can answer the
Yeah.
no now,
right.
unfortunately.
So then you would put the funds into repairing by the bridge, or we just forget it?
I don't see us having the stamina right now to put something like this in, because we're gonna need a subcommittee going. You'd have to look at some kind of forestry project probably to get it started.
Yeah.
And, cutting in a road is gonna be expensive. I mean, that was, I can't give you the numbers off the top of my head, but I remember Greater Woods, I mean, that road, Gateway Trail was you know, we ended up making, you know, $2,000 or $3,000 out of that from all the lumber that came out of there. So, I mean, it was an expensive project. So,
So do we want to proceed with repairing by the bridge, I guess is my question. The access, the current access.
Yes, so that's technically not our responsibility.
Okay,
Don was trying to see if we could
all right.
muster up
So-
enough.
Okay.
I don't see us having a.
I don't know, I mean, if not, someone else wants to lead the charge.
We're gonna have a big to-do list for our new alternate,
Well,
aren't
when,
we?
Yes, that's right.
when do you, I know, we kind of talked about this a little bit. When do you feel you need to make a decision on this, one way or the other?
From what they were telling me, it seems to be fairly stable at the moment, so unless we have,
So it could be any day.
it could be, or it could be a year or
Right,
two.
it could be a long time, or it could be,
Mhm.
you know, the next rainstorm and it's an issue.
And we've done everything we can to divert
Right.
all the water going down through, so hopefully that will help to,
Yeah.
to save that. But there's a couple areas, and it looks like part of it is ready to slough down. So if that goes, then we're gonna have to do something.
Right.
And it could just be a rainstorm, but like I said, we have been taking care to divert the water so it's not going in that area.
I mean, it's gonna be so long if this ever happens,
Yeah.
that they might as well fix.
Exactly, that's what my,
There's all kinds of concerns with having it that
Yeah.
long.
They might as well fix by the bridge.
rock and hard place here.
Yeah, I don't see us getting anywhere for 2 years, even if we were to start, this spring, working on it. Cause we'd have to do on-the-ground survey work and everything, so.
Which we can do that. And we can go for a walk and do that.
Yeah, well, we can certainly narrow down the possibilities by doing a dedicated walk out there.
You can probably pick out a lot of the the wetlands from
Oh, yeah.
the topography that you've got.
Yeah.
You can see where some of the major brooks or swales could be.
Right.
And they don't widen out, given the slope on that, so they're probably fairly narrow.
But if somebody can't drive in at least half that distance, I don't see people using that Field Farm area.
Right, but, I
That's what I'm
mean,
saying, it's gonna
Yeah.
be, it's gonna be a big road. I mean, that's 97 acres. You know,
Yeah, well, you
at
got the
least now we have
scale, so
a,
you're
have a
talk-
plan so we can see what you can and can't, because before, it was like, oh, that would be nice. Well, it would be nice till you put it all
Yeah.
together on paper, and
you-
this is what you have.
I said it's
You look-
close to an eighth of an acre just to walk.
You're looking at an eighth, you're looking at 1,000-foot road
Yeah.
to get close to the river. And you'd still walk the last 100 feet.
I think it's longer than that, isn't it? What scale is that?
Oh, you're right, so
Double that.
That was
Oh,
done.
so
It was-
we're- yeah,
It was like
well,
it was a
That's
half a mile
600.
in.
so, yeah, you're talking 1,200 feet.
Yeah, so we said it was about an eighth of a mile just to walk out as the crow flies.
Yeah,
So you're gonna be closer to half a mile, a quarter mile.
yeah, because you literally have to get somewhere in here to have some sort of a reasonable slope. So. And you'd want to be along that long line of the
Yeah,
river,
right.
because if you get anywhere near an end, it'll either get washed out or it would be a bigger maintenance problem, so.
But yes, to answer your question, we'd have to probably do some type of step downs, and whether we can do it far enough from the bank on this other side to be able to step it down and then get down into how to shore it up, I don't know, but it's gonna take a lot of permits, I know that.
Yeah. Or, yeah, maybe we can do something like was done at Natticook Lake, that boat launch, put something right into the water, or right close to the water,
Yeah, but you could drive down to that.
yeah.
Even if
Unbagged bridge,
off
it's
of,
really
when you watch, when you go down Natticook and you look at the,
It's over
Oh, yeah.
over here.
who's the family, the son
It's really,
passed away. And they came down, put the bench up,
it's really steep.
their house.
Where's our,
Their
oh,
house.
yeah, yeah.
His dock is cantilevered out over the water.
Mhm.
If you ever noticed it, there's nothing holding that dock out. It's cantilevered on the
Oh.
other side. I mean, that's exactly what Bob McCabe did when
Yeah.
he's fixing his shoreline. They drove those posts
Drove
back
it right
into
into the riverbank.
into the riverbank.
Yeah,
So
This river goes up and down more than the lake does.
yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. But I'm saying, might be kind of interesting.
I took-
I don't know if I want to do that under the road though.
Preferably not.
All right,
took a
I'll-
walk down-
I'll mind my own damn business.
I took a walk down to the Merrimack today. It is quite high.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it is. Even you watch around here, you see the water up in the woods, or is everywhere. People are skating in the woods. It's pretty funny. All right. I don't think we really need to vote on this. I think we're just consensus. I just don't think we're gonna be able to do anything.
Not in the next 2 years, so,
Okay,
yeah.
So-
fair enough. That's what I needed to know. Now I
Can I
can,
keep this?
you can keep those, yes. You can do what you like. All paper.
You got more than one?
No, it's just one, just fold it over.
Yeah,
I
I-
see.
You want this one?
it printed the wrong way around. I just didn't cut it off.
Yeah.
We'll just keep in touch about it, because, if you get to a point where it's gotta go,
This
you
way?
know, obviously, but we'll see if we can get at least get some traction on our side, and just start walking it a little bit, see if we can get a better idea of what's out there and how to get from point A to point B.
I think the biggest thing that's missing is like the wetlands crossings.
Right,
You know, how wide and how many brooks, and
Kids
I don't think there's too many
and
wetlands
and high
per
water
se,
in the
but
spring.
there are some brooks, I think, probably through
Here's
there,
where
at
the
least from the topography. I've never walked it, so. All
properties we're talking about.
well,
right,
thank you.
thank you.
See you.
It was fun, as always.
We have to quote it around.
We're gonna be in touch with
Yeah,
you
we
about
die if we go through that.
the Greater Woods Road. We're gonna,
I still have all the files?
That's quoted around
Yeah.
that.
Still have all the files?
all right, thank you, John.
You better. Yeah. It'd be nice to get through the,
Yeah.
yeah, we can hear it. It'd be better.
All right. Commission vote on the request to meet, well, I'm not sure that's the only thing I'm more thinking we're gonna vote on what to do about that trail. I don't know if we're, wants to read that line item.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're gonna vote on just having a wildlife biologist. We could do that whenever. We have cooperative extension that can come down and take a look at this whenever they want to. They may actually want to do it just because it's interesting to see. I'm more on the ilk of if we're really ready to commit any funds to do anything on that trail. Has anyone had a chance to walk it? You almost did.
I almost did. You guys tried to kill me.
That's not true. He's the only one going through the water. Matt, the three of us are walking the same spot. There goes
I
Mike.
go through the ice.
Yes, John.
Could I address the board?
Yeah, please. Why don't you come up real quick?
Yes, Donald Liberty, 5 Danforth Road. Couple points of order before the vote is taken. In the beaver management policy, it says upon receiving a formal complaint regarding nuisance beaver activity on town-owned lands, the Conservation Commission shall evaluate the effect on the site and other abutting parcels, examine detailed site map, and visit the site to determine the scope of the issue. I'd like to know how many from the MCC have visited the site, since my initial complaint and proposal was presented on Monday, January 7th. Could I have a show of hands, please?
Well, one of them's not here.
I want a show of hands of the people that are here,
Okay, I've been out there,
okay?
So have I.
so.
Since January 7th?
Yep.
No? Cindy?
I was out there before that, but not.
Okay,
Yeah, no, I apologize, I just thought of it Sunday night and couldn't get there today.
okay.
And your feet were wet.
The other point of order is before a vote that would be taken, I think the minutes should be approved. The reason being, 3 pages out of the 7 of the draft of the minutes for the meeting on January 7th deal with my formal complaint and proposal. And before a vote is taken, I feel that if there's any changes or edits that need to be made, I know I have one that needs to be made. I think that should be considered before a vote. And on a side note, I'd like to just express that I feel that anybody that did not go to the site where I filed the complaint concerning the beaver nuisance, I feel that people that haven't been to the site should not be allowed to vote on the proposal.
Thanks for your opinion.
Thank you.
So, just, and everyone can have your own opinion, because it's gonna be an open conversation before we vote, obviously. If you've been out there and looked at it, or if you've been out and looked at any of the sites that we have on Greater Woods, on Horse Hill, or any of our other properties, because we have them on pretty much all of them, we have beaver activity happening pretty regularly. This one is relatively severe. It's, they've really cleared quite a bit. It's gonna be interesting to see in the spring what you're gonna get for, kind of ground coppice growth, so. Only in a few places have we actually gone and done anything to, once we trapped, that was that one time that we trapped. I know Cindy's shivering over there. But that was a direct, that was a,
Before I was on the commission.
well, no, but that wasn't a direct, that wasn't a direct complaint, because we were causing, or the water level was causing problems with the septics.
To a private residence,
Yes,
not town-owned forest. It was a private residence.
on a protected water source that leads into
Yes.
Babusak Brook.
Right.
And so E. coli levels were going up, and it was causing a problem.
Yeah.
And we went through fairly extensive, research as to what to do, and we got back from the wildlife team, the biology team from UNH, from, professional private organizations that we'd hired, that one-time, the one-time trap, and then install those water levelers, and that's what we did. So we haven't had any problem back there since. That's 4 years ago now, 5 years ago, almost. So, and we've done a couple water levels in other town-owned properties that were affecting private property. The Meadowwood Pond is probably the best example of that area. We're having a lot of problem with the water level, and it was starting to erode that woman's front yard.
Oh, right.
And so that was causing, quite a bit of private property damage. And so in all those locations, we've never done anything to the beavers. We've only done stuff to the water level. So that was, we've talked about that too, is we felt that we have a water level problem in town more than we have a beaver problem in town. So to me, going out and seeing this,
And everyone saw the pictures
yeah, it's,
that went around
Yep,
from,
right.
you know.
I'm of the ilk that this is just nature doing nature's thing, so I don't have any particular heartburn about it, but I'd like to hear what you all have to think about it too.
The vote that we take today, are we voting on closing on trail work, or are we voting on having someone from wildlife come and look at it? What are we
Well,
voting on? if we are voting.
To me, I'm looking at, if we're gonna commit funds to this,
To the trail.
to commit funds to deal with an issue like this, you know, we're gonna try to, what are we gonna try to do? And it's gonna, at some point in time, it's gonna take a professional to come out here and say, yes, this is what you should do. And we're gonna have to talk and vote on that. So, and it's gonna have to be a few different people probably, because you're gonna get dissenting opinions. You're gonna get Fish and Game come out here and tell you to do one thing. You're gonna get, you know, the UNH Cooperative Extension or someone to come out and do one thing, and you're gonna have private organizations come out here and tell you to do one thing. You know, we have access to trappers, we have access to, you know, different methods of dealing with this, so.
We have a chair that has a lot of experience with this.
So, to me, it's, are we gonna expend money to do something here? Because it doesn't cost us anything to close a trail. And we've already asked DPW to go out there and they cut a bunch of trees down off Forest and tried to make it as safe as possible. You're gonna have some inherent risk when you walk anywhere in the woods, whether it's trees falling down or wind activity, so. You know, we've got plenty of widowmakers out there in the woods now. I have a number of them that I go and pull on all the time, and I've only been lucky enough to get one of them to come down, so.
Well, I think it's natural for the landscape to change over time. I mean, this isn't a neighborhood that's paved, you know, trees are gonna fall, wildlife's gonna come in. I think it's natural, I do think it's kinda cool that we're seeing what they're doing. And, you know, this is a forest after all, this is conservation land, it's not a park. You know, I think this is just what happens out there. And rerouting the trail, I think is the easiest thing to do. Or waiting, you know, until the trees are all down, and then you can just reopen it. Well, you know, if there's deemed danger. I mean, they're gonna be going under the, staying, you know, they're not gonna be doing much work here pretty soon, once we get into real winter.
I'm always thinking it's ready for spring.
Yeah.
Started my snowblower twice this year so far.
So the UNH Cooperative Extension, is that something that charges to come out and evaluate? Or is that something that they have students that would come out, or they have interns that would come out and look at the property and give their opinion?
The cooperative extension, you can contract with them for work, but they also have grant money to come out and do surveys of wildlife issues. So often, like someone like Matt Tarr, he's funded. He's got a budget that he can go out and he can go do stuff. He can go look at things and make his assessments and make his reports and do whatever. So we can do that whenever.
So I would think, quite honestly, that this would be a great opportunity for students to come out and take a look at it and give their opinion. But I don't think that we have the money as the Conservation Commission right now to spend on a full-blown, you know, to have like Jeff come out and do a full-blown
Right.
ecological study on what's going on. Because, you know, as Tim pointed out, we have had beaver studies done before.
Yep.
And this is a nature preserve, and beavers are doing what they're doing. They're doing their nature stuff. So for us to spend money on it, I would kind of feel bad, especially we have so many other things that we need to spend money on. But I would be up for if UNH students wanted to come out and take a look at it and give us their opinion. I'd be up for that.
Yeah, and that's something we can do via notification. We certainly let them know that this is going on. If it's something that they want to see, then.
I would think that they would love to see this, because as you said, we don't have anything like this on any of our other properties. So this would be a cool opportunity
have.
for them. We have had,
Yep.
but at the current time, we do not
No,
have.
we don't.
And plus those beavers, so I was reading that the mating season is over and now they're gestating or whatever they're doing, but there's gonna be baby beavers pretty soon, so.
Yep.
More beavers.
Yes.
Yep, and the second year, pups will be kicked out,
So this issue's gonna be somewhere else next, for a whole new group.
Right, so students, I would think, would
Well, yes, you're right, they would. I have no idea how many other towns are having this issue, so they may be,
We're cooler.
A lot of water in town.
it's an easy place to see it, that's for sure. You can get there and you can see a good breadth of where
Yeah.
they're doing it, so. Because they're even gnawing on the downed trees.
Mhm.
That they debarked a bunch of the trees that the DPW cut, a couple weeks ago, so.
Hey,
You
Can
guys-
I make a just say something, or ask a question, or is that possible? Or
Please come up, you have to sign in.
it's not contentious. I'm Bruce Peterson, I live at 3 Elizabeth Drive. So, I like the beavers a lot, and I think it's pretty interesting to see what they're doing over there. But it's also interesting to me that it seems like, and I've been going over to Horse Hill for many years, that this particular year, it seems like so much more work being done by the beavers than any time in the past. And I walked around Horse Hill this winter and fall and see what other work is being done around by the beavers around other areas, and I really couldn't see much work at all being done.
Yep.
And it seemed like the beaver pond underneath the power lines is like they're gone out of there. I don't even see anything being done there at all. So I find it interesting, and I think it would be interesting as a town to figure out, well, what's going on in there, and just to educate ourselves. And part of the objective of the Horse Hill, I think, is for education. And I talk to people over there, and people love I like coming over here and look at the beavers and see what they're doing and all that. But I think we should understand what's going on, and maybe we can even educate the people what's going on. And maybe it's temporary. Maybe this is just one season, something's going on that's unusual, and it won't be so bad the next few years. But I think that if we got, I don't know if somebody from Fish and Game that might come that doesn't cost anything and kind of look at that, or some kind of expert on beavers and kind of educate us as to what's going on, so we can use it as educational purposes, or we can maybe mitigate it, or maybe just close the trail down. It's going to keep happening, or make some logical decision based on some information from an expert of what's going on right there. I don't think that we need to tear beaver pond dams down or trap beavers, but I think we need to understand what's going on and then make a decision based on that. Maybe just close the trail altogether, or just close at certain times of the year. By the way, the DPW cut 2 trees down. That was it. Don and I have cut down a number of trees, or trees that already came down. We cut them up so the trail was passable. There are still some trees there that are hung up or getting ready to come down. That I've been over there on a weekend, and I've seen families, and they all with their kids, and they like to go through there and look at all the trees that are down, and it's a nice path to go along the pond. And I'm just looking at like one tree that's kind of hung up that I think if it falls, it's not going to fall on the trail. But I'm just saying, I'm not sure if this is safe or not. I don't really know, and we have to keep an eye almost daily on what the beavers have done with the trees, although I think they really kind of stopped doing much right now. Anyway, I think that it would behoove us as a town to kind of find out what's going on, and then use that as education for us and education for the rest of the townspeople, or anybody who uses that preserve. I do have a question about the beaver management policy, but I can wait until the end to bring that up. I just have a question about what is the policy, what's the current policy? But I can wait until the open.
That's online, that's the one that's posted online.
Yeah, the one that's 16 years old is the current policy.
Well, that's the question I have is, but I can, if you want, I can wait. It just take me 2 minutes to say what I have to say about it. Not about the specifics of it, but there is the policy dated 2002.
Yeah.
And then in the GCA Geo-Environmental Comprehensive Beaver Management Plan.
Yep.
So I'm trying to educate myself and learn what's going on in town and what the policies are and all that. So I came upon that, and it said, to coordinate review of conflicts created by beaver, the town established a Beaver Management Policy 2002. Although the policy created guidance for reviewing beaver conflicts, the current policy does not provide clear guidance on how to address and minimize beaver conflicts conflicts, and it does not provide a system to clarify when routine maintenance is allowed without review by the Conservation Commission. The following management plan is designed to identify known beaver conflicts and measures to minimize hazards and property damage caused by the beaver while protecting beaver colonies and associated natural resources to the greatest extent practical. Then it goes on to say, it is our understanding that documentation from this effort will be used to develop an updated beaver management policy that streamlines management activities and provides a framework for prioritizing sites and addressing conflicts. So that's why I said, well, is there something being worked on, or is there a plan to do that, or not?
There is.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just not, we just haven't had time to do it yet.
Yeah, no, I just didn't know where we're at with
And
that.
that was part of that plan, was we're trying to use that as the genesis to create a new management policy. Because right now, if you read the current management policy, DPW is not supposed to be doing anything while they're coming to us, and we meet twice a week, or twice a month.
Yeah,
So if there's some
Yeah.
infrastructure issue or something going on, they're supposed to, like, wait for us to have a meeting so they can go do their job.
right.
And it's not really written. That might have been great when this was a little tiny town, but it's just not that way any longer.
Sure.
So it's more designed, the fact, give us some leeway to allow the town to go do that they feel they need to do.
Okay,
Because
thanks.
there's some other issues that they need to address.
Also, just a side note, I was just curious, when I read through the geo-environmental comprehensive beaver management plan, it didn't seem like they did any work on Horse Hill at all. They didn't do any inventory on Horse Hill. I couldn't find any that they did.
They were not looking at specific parcels.
Oh, I read that well, when I saw, they were into all known beaver sites, is what they did,
Yeah,
but they didn't go
beaver
to,
sites that were
Sites.
That were
problem.
problematic.
Oh, problematic.
oh, I didn't see the word problematic. They
Right.
went to a bunch of ones that,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay, thanks.
yeah.
All right. See, Steve.
I think ultimately, it's tough to justify spending town money on it unless we're prepared, or at least half of us are prepared to manage that current population. I just don't know why we would be. I think I would be inclined to do that if there were property damage or infrastructure damage. But this is probably where they belong. If I had a property that abutted Horse Hill, I wouldn't want you to chase them out of there. They're, they move them into someone else's backyard.
Yeah,
This
'cause
is
if it- I mean-
nature's forestry project right now. I kinda like Tim was saying at the last meeting, this is kind of a neat happening there. If we have to close those paths, then we close those paths. There are a lot of paths in town.
We could mark them as closed and tell people they're closed. Doesn't keep people off them. So, because it's happened in the past, but yes. Okay.
And I know Jeff Littleton hasn't been out there since this has happened, but when we mentioned to him and explained to him, I mean, he didn't seem shocked,
No.
like that wasn't something he's seen. I really don't think this is that unusual. I mean, this probably happens way in the forest places where we can't see all the time,
We just don't happen to have trails.
Right.
Yep.
This is just, you go,
So it seems to me a lot of the biggest concern is hanging trees or trees that can potentially fall where people are walking.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I guess the most we
Yeah,
can
so
do is
it
close
was,
it.
we probably should get some signs out there asking, just be cautious. We can say it's closed, but, as I said, people don't really tend to mind that very well, but we can, just danger, kind of pass at your own risk type of thing.
Yeah, I would think we should put up signs that says the trail's closed, and then add to it, but we should take that definitive step.
Okay.
So,
I can contact Peter.
yeah, and it should be closed indefinitely.
Mhm.
It's not like a mud season event or something
Right,
like that,
yeah.
so. I'm also not opposed to having some people come out and take a look if they
No,
want to.
That's, and
Yeah.
obviously, we told Jeff about it, and I did contact UNH, and I left a message for Matt, just saying, hey, this is going on, if you have anyone that's interested.
Mhm.
I've not told GZA, I don't know if they're really interested to come out and just do their own study, but
Yeah.
I can certainly let them know.
Mhm.
But they're aware of where it is. if they wanna come out and look at it, they're certainly more than welcome. If we're asking them to come out and make a decision about it or give us some information on it, but I can certainly call Matt again and ask him to actually come out and look at it, not just for his own purview.
Does New Hampshire Fish and Game charge to come out and look at it?
I don't believe they do. We, initially, the first group that we looked at, Meadowood Pond, was, I got in touch with them through Fish and Game, but it was not Fish and Game, it was, I don't remember the acronym for them, but, their services were, their planning services were free, their execution services, actually going in and notching a dam or doing whatever was something you'd contract to do and pay for. And I think that's pretty much what we're gonna find regardless. I mean, if you want people to come out and make an assessment, most of that stuff is, for now, and then having them actually do something, even if it's just making a formal plan for it,
Yeah.
is where you'd start spending the money.
So I move we close the portion of the trail that starts at, there's not a post there, is there?
I think, I know direction you're going. I think that perhaps we should just say where the beaver activity starts, because if it moves further one way or the other, we're gonna wanna just keep moving those signs out.
Yeah, we might reach the point, though, where the loop trail is no longer passable.
But there's
From-
another method around it, so.
Right, would have to, right, you'd end up going another way,
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
So,
I'll be quiet now, you can make your motion.
Yeah. I'll second.
well, for,
Okay.
yeah, I don't have a map of Horse Hill, so I can't tell you exactly if there's a post number,
There.
so, I don't think well, there is certainly a kiosk sign, but is that a post number?
I'd like to start from
Okay.
where we find the
Here's a
activity.
Horse Hill map.
Oh.
Yeah, where we find have them on the car.
Yeah,
I
me
tend
too.
not to look at the posts anymore. Post 3.
Hit the bomb.
Core one for me, yeah.
Yeah, can I just say something about that area that you're talking about, and the trees?
Sure.
So it's still Bruce Peterson, still 3 Elizabeth Drive. So when you take that path going down to the first bench at the beaver pond, right by the hut,
Right.
I already cut down 2 trees that the beavers had worked on, right in that area, and there's another tree that's there that they've been working on. So there's a potential hazard there, and so if you're really gonna close it off so that you're gonna eliminate any hazards, you would need to close it off before the trail goes down to the dam, to the hut. Because there are trees in there that they have worked on, they've been cut down and are working on right now, so.
Listen, I think I'd rather, we have a motion on the table. We have a motion on the table by Tim, a second by Michael.
I'm gonna say I haven't quite finished the
Okay, well,
motion. so-
okay, so we have, all right. Why don't you start over?
Okay, so I move that we close the portion of loop trail between posts 3 and 4, the portion that goes along Listoka Pond, just so it's clear.
Okay. Motion by
Second.
Tim. Motion by Tim, second by Mike. Any discussion on the motion before we vote?
Well, you can discuss it. If you'd rather see something different?
No, I don't want to limit it to 3 to 4. I think if the activity shifts, I think that we should just move the signs appropriately to keep,
Right.
but obviously, keep in mind, you can't move the signs to the end of where the tree fall is. A tree's, 70, 80 feet tall. If it falls, who knows what direction it's going in? So you are at risk. You're in the woods, you're walking in the woods, you're the same risk you are getting hit by a car if you're walking the sidewalk. You are, there's risk. So we can put up the signs at appropriate locations of,
Right.
around the activity.
You want to restate, or?
I think if just, we have the understanding that those signs can
Can be a-
can move.
Okay.
And they will likely will have to, so,
And that's obviously the
yeah.
the genesis of the epicenter of the problem, so. All right. All those in favor? Aye. Passes 7-0-0?
6.
Oh, 6, sorry. Matt's not here.
I know, yeah, we're used to having seven.
All right. So, I'll reach back out to Matt or UNH, whoever wants to, and ask him, specifically to come down and look at this
Mhm.
and see if he may have already been down here. I don't know. I have not heard back from him, so. And we can see, same thing I was thinking that Bruce brought up is like, it would be interesting to find out why are they here now?
Mhm.
Why all of a sudden, they
Yeah,
just,
so when you ask Matt to come down, ask him to look all the way across the pond to the other side, closer to the,
Yeah.
the farm, the horse farm and that, because they're doing the
they're
same
doing
thing
the
over
same
there.
thing on the other side.
Yeah. Right, it's not
Yeah.
just one spot. Yeah.
So would the Horse Hill Subcommittee like to be notified when he does come down? They wanna-
If he can give me a schedule when he's coming, I can let people know, but,
I'd rather he had an opportunity to go independently look
Yeah.
at it, and then if we wanted to go circle back with him, so he could educate us or comment on it. But I
Yeah.
would rather he got a chance to evaluate on his own.
yeah, their first time through, it's good for these guys to come
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
see what they see without any extra
Yeah.
help.
because he's very good.
Yeah.
He's found a lot of things at our Beaver Meadow and pointed them all out.
Yeah.
And he's very willing to get his feet wet, you might say. Meaning he'll strap on his boots and he'll go. It's not like he'll just kind of stay on our trail and kind of look around.
Yeah.
He's whatever. He's not afraid to get his feet wet.
Tenacious.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's good.
Yeah,
He knows his
good.
stuff.
Yeah, well, he
So-
does.
I would prefer him as opposed to someone who may have another agenda, because he owes nothing to nobody.
Right.
Right? So,
Okay, I will, I'll definitely contact him again, and we can go from there.
So we have a subcommittee meeting a week from tonight, but I will send out an email.
I would imagine he'll get back to me by then. He's,
No, I mean about the trail. I'll send out
Oh,
an email
yeah.
about the trail closure.
okay.
now, do we want to ask DPW to bring up, real blockage?
Oh.
Or do we want to just put up little paper signs that could fall apart later? I mean, how do we want to do
I
this?
think we need some real
Oh.
blockage.
Yeah.
And I think that they need to go down and they need to do another sweep to see if there's anything that's gonna come down anyway. Just,
Well, but if we close the trail, then
if we close the trail,
we don't
but,
really need to cut them down.
yeah, well, I mean, if there's something that's looking like,
See, the trouble is to get some of the trees that are hung up, you have to take other trees down too.
oh,
Or
okay,
you have to grab them and pull them,
okay.
right? You have to put
So then
equipment
real
on them and pull
blockage
them.
would be helpful.
So, I mean, at some point, we might have to do that anyways.
I don't know how much real blockage they're gonna be able to get to the other end. I mean, that main trail, they can get down pretty well with a pickup truck or something like that to
Yeah.
put something substantial down there, but the other side of that trail, it's gonna be
Right. Yeah, well, the other side of that trail is just a walking
a
trail.
couple
so-
sawhorses and
A sawhorse with a sign, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe some flagging or something?
The trouble is, like we did last year, when we did the Ducks Box last year, we went from point A to point B in a straight line.
Right.
So if someone else is out there walking, they're gonna miss, just kind of walking
Oh,
around, they're gonna
sure.
miss the signs.
Yeah.
They could miss the signs. If we're gonna mark the trail, we're gonna mark the trail, but if you intend to be flagging out into the woods around the whole area?
No, I was thinking just in the trail area. That would only be effective after the ice and snow really was gone.
Yep.
Yeah.
We can look into that, yeah, see what else we can do. That might just mean some more sawhorses in the woods type of thing, but. All right. Okay. Old business. The seedling giveaway. I sent you guys all the list of stuff and the link for the catalog. Love to hear your opinion as to what we're gonna buy this year. Because I wanna get it done and out. I know, Jeannie, you had some
I
changes
did.
you wanted to make?
I did, but, you know, I found an Audubon site that essentially says that in our zip code,
Mhm.
they'll eat everything. Anything that you plant, something's gonna eat it.
For the most part.
So,
Well,
I feel good about your list. If you wanted to add some more crab apples, that would be great, but if you're comfortable with your list, they'll just eat the hazelnuts.
Yes. So, and not that we didn't have crab apples.
You do have some crab apples.
Are they in there?
They're very popular.
The
Well,
thing with
so
crab apples
the-
is, we have a lot of winter robins, I've noticed, and the winter robins really like the crab apples.
And what, is it in a package?
I was just thinking of getting it.
Because they're not on the, we don't have crab apples on the list this year. I didn't put them on the list this year.
Oh, I think it wasn't on this list, I was on the,
Oh, this crab, non-native conservation seedlings. So,
oh, there they
I
are.
will,
Yep.
we can certainly do that.
Yeah,
The,
and then they're
Lauren?
pretty too.
remember when Lauren, you remember Lauren was on the board with us?
Oh, yeah.
A forestry, she was, and that was one of the first times we did the list, and she said, why are you getting all these non-native species?
Yeah.
So
They were like, what?
I put my head down and promptly chastised myself, so
No.
I don't ever pick non-native seedlings anymore, so.
Oh, so
but
is
we
this
can,
not good?
Well, how many crab apples do you see around here?
Wow,
They're everywhere.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
So, yeah, they may be non-native, but they're certainly become native now.
Mm.
I was thinking, cause in the last 5 years, I've seen a lot more robins wintering over,
Mhm.
and they need to eat something.
Mhm.
So, in my yard, they come and they literally pick the tree clean, those and the cedar waxwings.
Mm.
So, cedar waxwings eat quite a few things, but robins seem to be kinda picky, so,
They'll eat those mountain ash berries too.
yeah. Wait a minute, are the mountain ash ones that orange things, that
Yeah.
when you step on them, they stink?
I don't know, they stink.
They do, they smell terrible.
All right,
But
so,
people love getting
so you'd
crab
have,
apples.
you'd rather have crab apple in place of,
Well,
or in addition to?
I would go in addition to,
Because we're at 425 plants right now. Last year we had 375, and we, for the most part, ran out.
I guarantee that if you got 50 crab apples, they would go. And they would probably go first. The pussy willows and the crab apples will go, because
So-
people like flowering plants,
And smaller ones.
yeah.
So it's, so that's another, that's fine, that's another $50, so we're at 490.
Is that all right?
So we are, there's no all right or no, or wrong, there's no right or wrong.
Okay.
It's just, that's where it is, and we've been over the years we're around the 400 plants, around the $400 mark.
Okay,
If we think we're ready to go more, go big, go home.
The quantity of plants seems to work. We usually have a few left over.
Yeah, so
But-
we'll,
but things like crab apples are very popular.
you'll see so I gave you, this is last year's, and this is what's proposed this year.
Mhm.
This last column is the amount of trees that were left over.
mhm.
So last year, we had 12 button bush left over.
Yeah, but
But-
we had a lot of button
Right,
bush.
and that's because that it was replaced, that the wild raisin, we didn't get wild raisin.
Right.
So we got 50 button bush, and we already had a whole bunch of button bush in one of the packages.
Right.
Yep.
So all in all, as far as I'm concerned, we got rid of everything last year.
Yep.
So, yes, I think the quantities were.
I think if we had something, I think if we had things that people are really hot for, people are really hot for pussy willows, and I think that people would be really hot for crab apples. And I think that, you know, because we don't limit people on, we don't say you can only have 2 of these, but
So do you want to take out either the black walnut or white cedar or red spruce?
I was, see, I don't have my original notes. I
People
was,
don't really want red spruce.
yeah, I was originally gonna
Okay,
take out
we
the
haven't done red
hazelnuts, but.
spruce in a while,
I
have we?
don't, yeah, we haven't had red spruce for
Yeah.
quite a long time.
Had
But
white, Norway.
But
I could have given you the whole, I have it going back to, I don't know, a few years, but, yeah, the red spruce, I mean, it's
no.
red spruce, here, I can read you what red spruce is, because of my fluous voice. Red spruce is dark green, extremely shade-tolerant evergreen tree of cool, moist northern forest and high elevations, height of up to 70 feet, mature. Uses include lumber and pulpwood. Spruce forests provide wintering habitat for deer and other wildlife.
Yeah, but people around their yard, are they gonna want to be planting trees that will grow to 70 feet?
People plant sugar maples in their yard,
That's true.
so I'm,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
can,
but, right, but it's.
That's the type of thing, though, that if people don't take them, we can plant them in the woods.
The spruce.
And when I say we, I mean Gage.
Yeah, or Matt, right.
I've done that, I've done planting.
yeah, yes, Tim took a bunch a couple of years ago, he did that.
Took some.
It was an issue that one year when we were like in a drought because you were gonna have to go out and water
Water
them
them, yeah.
every day.
Yeah.
No,
So,
That's not happening.
no, yeah, I don't think it did, yeah.
Yeah, I would suggest we either eliminate the spruce or the cedar and substitute in the crab apple as opposed to adding in
Okay.
addition to. And keep the quantity similar to what we've done in the past.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that,
Mine is
yeah.
the
The
robin
northern
stem.
white cedar, by the way, is an arborvitae. That's a more common name.
Oh, okay. I know what those are.
So, it's a medium-sized, rot-resistant wood, light-colored, durable, aromatic.
I think the cedar would be more popular than
The northern white, than the spruce.
I think so,
So we're gonna,
my opinion.
okay.
Yeah.
So, no spruce. We're gonna get rid of the spruce and put crabapple in there. Steve doesn't care. He's like, whatever. It's a tree.
I'll go pick them
I'm
up.
just gonna go. I'm just gonna plant them.
I know where the nursery is.
Okay.
Ooh, okay.
I go get Christmas trees there every year.
Oh,
Excellent.
Throw them in.
okay, nice.
Yeah.
They've got the best sign right there on their prison.
Christmas,
Oh,
you mean personal Christmas tree? Your
It's a state prison. Caution: don't pick up hitchhikers.
Oh, little ones.
You can buy saplings. You get 25 for $30. They give you a mix of all 5.
So when pussy willows say do not plant near water, sewer, or septic pipes, they mean don't plant near water pipes, right? But you
Yeah.
can plant them near water.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Their roots are very invasive.
They like, but don't they like damp?
They
Yes.
do,
They
but
like
don't
wet
put them
feet.
near your water pipes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't.
but
and
if I
like-
put them out back by the swamp, they'd be
Yeah.
good
Yeah,
there.
like not near your septic tank or your septic leach field or anything
That's
like
all
that.
enough.
Yeah,
We don't
that's,
have that.
they're very invasive.
Okay,
They'll clog
the-
your pipes up.
Yeah.
that's okay. I'd
They-
put it out in the back by the swamp.
We're going with the same quantity, 50?
Yes, please.
Very polite.
Yes.
Well, I'm very happy because I got my way.
We gotta keep her happy.
That's right.
We want her to stick around for a while.
Yeah.
So just be aware, we picked something that's considered non-native,
It's okay.
so, but
The
again,
robins don't
but
care.
they're all over the place, so I'm not really sure how non-native they are. That means they were non-native in like the 1300s probably. So,
40 generations of robins from now, they'll be very happy.
all right, is that the only change?
Another one I came up with.
Works for me.
Yeah, I'm good, all right.
Yep.
I'll put this order together then. So that should leave us around the same cost, the 440 mark. And that'll also leave us at about, yeah, that should leave us at the same number of trees. So it's 425 trees and $440. So we're down at $1.04 a tree.
Good deal. You need a motion for that, to expend the dollars?
Didn't we vote to do
And
it?
did we,
Did we vote to do it?
Remember now.
Actually, we probably do, because we didn't, we didn't, we talked about it, but we didn't talk about. Yeah, we didn't put money onto it.
I make a motion that the Conservation Commission spend $440 to purchase 425 trees for the 19th annual seedling giveaway from Fund 53.
Second?
Motion by Gina, second by Cindy. All those in favor? Passes 600. Okay, we'll get that done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gina. All right, so game cameras on conservation properties, this was something Matt asked me to add, and, because we've put up a few, and Fish and Game's put up some. I think he was intending to purchase some, but where he's not here, not really sure exactly what he was.
No, didn't he mention he got one was stolen? And, so he's probably missing one.
I think he's missing one, yeah. We have from time to time put up game cameras in the woods for a couple different reasons. One, for game, to see what we're capturing. We've got some great pictures of, if you put them really low in the tree, you get some really good nose shots of something. So, but we've done it. We've had some vandalism on trails, on signs, and we've been able to capture photographs and give them to the police. So we use them for, those two reasons for the most part. But and I know right now there's some down in Scalar. The police have at least one down in Scalar right now because of all the activity down there. So I think his intent was to buy some more, but we'll have to put that off to next meeting unless someone has any strong feelings to buying some cameras and not now. So I'll put that on the next agenda. Other business or old business, do you guys want to talk about 111 tonight?
No. I've been flat out at work for the last couple of weeks. I'm not doing anything but work and trying to manage the house as much as I can and say hi to my wife on it at times.
I have everything for you, so
Yeah.
I'll give you
So.
I have them in duplicate, so.
I'm hoping this project I'm working will come to an end this week as it's supposed to.
So we have one meeting next month in February.
Yeah.
On the 11th.
The 11th, yeah.
Do we want to do that there? Do you want me to we want to push it out some more?
Yeah, go to the first meeting in March.
March 4th?
Yep.
Okay.
Because I'll only be partially done at that point, so do you have updates for me?
I have the updated thumb drive.
Yeah.
It has 59 properties because the last one, it didn't give a book and a page number, so I'll go to town hall and see if I can find it. There's gonna be a deed somewhere.
Yeah, you might want to ask assessing.
Okay.
And just to be clear, this is going to be a working meeting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the intent is, I will have gone through all the deeds and easements and all that and pulled that day together. I will do some categorization of the properties, where do they fit based on those deeds? And then we've got to figure out, from that, where we want to go next. There'll be a whole set of properties that I'll say we should do nothing. Back lots and stuff like that, they're not a problem. There's no issue, there's no reason to add laws to protect them or whatever. But others, based on what's in easements and stuff like that, so we'll want to do something, so. But I'll keep it really generic, and then we can decide how deep we want to go with it, so.
Okay.
All right?
Good. All right, so subcommittee updates.
Well, just to reiterate that Horse Hill has a meeting a week from tonight in this room at 7 o'clock.
Okay. Today is, okay, that's good.
Oh, yes, I do. So the Wildcat Falls Subcommittee, Karen Labonte and I met with the town council. Oh, sorry. So Karen Labonte and I, Karen from Wildcat Falls, and I met with the town council to discuss the February 19th Moonlit Snowshoe Walk. And we did receive approval. The approval that we received, they did not want us to park at the end of West Chamberlain. They preferred that we parked at the high school and walked over. But then as we were leaving, Chief Roy walked out with us, and she said that she thought that we should be parking on Courier, and that she thought that she could arrange that for us.
Who?
Chief Roy.
Oh, okay.
Okay, she said she thought that she could arrange that, so I'm waiting to hear back from her on that. Her feeling was that it was, it would be safer to park at Courier, and rather than to park over there, it's dark at the high school, and to walk across the bridge. So her feeling was it would be better for the safety of
And
everyone.
it is gonna be moonlit night,
It will
hopefully,
be moonlit.
so hopefully headlights won't really bother people that much.
Right.
Perhaps we can, see if we can get people back in,
Mhm.
you know, when they park. Might be a little bit less invasive, at least when they leave.
Yeah, and I mean, if worse came to worse too, I mean, we could have people park at the high school, and I could shuttle them over too. You know, I don't think everybody's necessarily gonna be,
Just one night.
it's one night.
Right.
Her feeling is that it should not be an issue, but I am waiting to hear back from her, so.
We don't have, this kind of brings up a little side note here. We don't really have a good registration, not that we not need to register something like this, but it would be helpful just to know. There's gonna be 5 people, there's gonna be 10, there's gonna be 30.
Mhm.
So, if someone, you know, in your travels and you're surfing or whatever, if you figure out some interesting method of garnering registrations for things like that, signups, it might be, it'd be great, because we could, you know, it's something we could post and people could click and sign up, and
Right.
then we'd have their name and number and
Parks and Recs does that.
Mhm.
what do they use, do you know?
I don't
Constant
know, but-
contact or something?
No, but he'd be a good,
You want me
Yeah,
to
I can,
ask
I'll,
Matt?
yeah, I can ask Matt.
Mhm.
You want me to ask him, or you wanna?
No, I just have to put last names next to all these Matts now, because we have so many of them. Contact Matt contact Matt Kasparius.
The other question that we had, I'll wait until you finish that.
Yep.
The other question that you had was that we wanted to get kind of a blanket approval, and, we didn't necessarily get a blanket approval so that we could do this every year. They do want to hear from us, but, my feeling is if we let Eileen Cabanel know.
Right.
That we should be okay. So, you know, I'll just double check next year if we decide to do it again. We might
Yeah,
do
this is-
this and
I'm-
say, this was terrible, we're not gonna do it again. No.
Yeah, I mean, my comment of blanket approval was not to subvert letting them know what's going on. It's just having to wait for a meeting to go up and formally ask, it's like, look, can we
Right.
just come to you and say, hey, we're doing it again, this is
Right.
gonna be the night and time, and,
Right.
I mean, the town council, I know some people actually do watch that, so you
Yes,
probably got a little free advertising out of that, but
yes. So,
we can just advertise to it too.
Yeah.
So the 19th, so we got, only like 10 days or so, right?
for the 19th?
Yeah,
Yeah, we need to
or 20
start,
days or so, yeah.
we need to start telling people about it.
what time?
I believe we said 7. That's a good question. Let me see if
7
I can-
o'clock on the 19th.
Yeah.
Get that, Cindy?
It's like from 7 to 9.
What are you gonna sign on with this
So-
time?
Sorry?
Every time you sign on, it's a different machine.
No,
Where are you?
It just doesn't recognize it. It's usually, it's the same machine, but it doesn't recognize it.
You didn't save those cookies to your
Yeah.
computer.
I don't know.
That's why. That's why it doesn't recognize. Because it has to put a little cookie on your machine to remember.
February 19th at 7 o'clock, you said?
I believe it's 7 o'clock. Eileen will have it up on the town website.
And Chief, you're waiting for Chief Roy to get back to you, because we're feeling we're
Find out
probably
where
going to
we
be
will
parking at
park. We will
Courier.
probably be parking at Courier.
And this is called,
This is the
Moonlight.
Wildcat Falls Moonlight Snowshoe Walk. And if anybody needs snowshoes, I don't know if I'm allowed to say where you can buy them cheap. I got a pair real cheap at Ocean State Job Lot. They were $40. So hopefully they work. Not that we're, you know, I guess we can't endorse any companies, but
You're not, you're just telling people where you got a deal.
telling people
That's fine.
that's where I got them.
yes, so the 19th at 7 o'clock. So I shouldn't list a location yet, per se.
No,
I mean,
not yet.
Meeting location.
Yeah,
Right.
just,
Yeah,
just,
you'll just let me-
you know,
just
Say,
as-
you know, watch the town website for more details.
Right.
Okay.
you know, keep in touch for more detailed stuff, yeah.
Yeah, Karen will probably, I don't check on the Facebook page, but I know Karen checks it now and then, so I told her, she's the subcommittee chair, so, you know, she's doing her chair thing, so she will put it there if she feels that she wants to put it there.
When's the next
Oh, on the
meeting?
Facebook, oh, okay.
Our next meeting,
Hmm.
Wildcat Falls?
Hmm.
You're asking me all these hard questions.
No,
and
I
you
just,
don't
I
have
was,
my
but
calendar.
no,
I think it's the 3rd.
Look, oh, no,
It's a Tuesday night. Is that the 3rd? And it's coming
5th.
up
February 5th.
February 5th?
oh yeah, that's right here, February 5th at
Tuesday,
6:30.
Okay. Right here.
It's on our calendar.
Yeah. So I knew. It's mine.
You guys know that, right? If you subscribe to our calendar, it shows up on your calendar. If you have a smartphone, sorry, Mike.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah.
Did I give you a dirty look?
Oh, yeah.
I just realized that, yeah.
Someday. When this one dies.
Flip phones are coming back.
Yeah.
They're coming, they're remaking the Razor, it's like $800, it's ridiculous. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be crazy money, but still. All right, and we don't, Tim, as you alluded to, we don't have a subcommittee for Fields Farm, but we are actively looking for members. We don't have a subcommittee for Scalar yet, but we are actively looking for members. So if people have any interest in those, they can certainly contact us, and we can,
Well, we should formally charter a Sklar committee.
I thought we didn't do that? I thought we did.
Not that I know of.
No?
No, we have Wasserman
Wasserman, oh yeah. okay.
Conservation Area that has no members, and we have Fields Farm with no members.
Yep.
But we haven't chartered a Sklar.
We should do that next meeting. You gonna be at next meeting?
Yep.
So you know who's gonna get voted on it.
I will miss the one after that, but I'm at the next meeting.
All right.
No, it's February. I'll be there.
Looks like there's a Greater Woods meeting tomorrow night.
Yes. I'm gonna speak to that because Matt's not here. Yeah, so there's a Greater Woods meeting tomorrow night, 6:30. It's gonna be a little bit of a working meeting. We're gonna start incorporating the updates for the management plan. And again, it's not going to be an update to the actual philosophy, it's just gonna be more updates to things that have been done, projects, parcel names and numbers, things like that, things that have changed. So the context is gonna be the same, the content we updated.
Can I make a comment about Greater Woods, or should I
Please.
wait till? So was significant shooting yesterday out there somewhere. I don't know where. Semi-automatic.
Hunting is pretty much over.
Yeah, no, this wasn't hunting.
Yeah.
So
This-
target
this-
shooting.
This lasted for quite a while.
And you don't know, have any idea of kind of direction-wise?
Well, it seemed like it was in the direction like it used to be a few years ago. But
Up by the pit,
I-
are we cleaned up?
I mean,
Well, no, but
it's hard to tell with sound, but it seemed like that area. I don't know if maybe if they were there, or if they went to where the trees were cut or something, but somebody was there for quite a while, and then if they finished off with rapid fire.
Okay.
You know.
Well, we can go up, I certainly can go up and walk around up there.
Yeah, I should check it out too.
The brambles have sunk in the snow.
Yeah,
It's warm enough that it would melt
So-
in the snow.
yeah, it was significant.
And cold enough that it didn't pick it up, it's gonna ice itself back in pretty good, pretty
And
quick,
We getting snow tomorrow, or snow tomorrow?
Tomorrow night.
supposedly. What are you doing
So-
tomorrow? I'm working.
Sad.
I'm working, so.
When is this, over the weekend? Before
Wednesday I
New
can
Year?
walk out, I can go out.
I was gonna say, if we-
Well,
if we
might be
get,
too late on
if we get snow
Wednesday.
tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah, I could probably get out
Yeah,
there
if
tomorrow
you-
afternoon.
If you can, if not, then,
Yeah,
Was this over the weekend?
it's a Sunday, yeah.
okay.
Nothing
The
says
the
Sunday
Patriots
like
weren't
shooting
playing,
star.
so somebody,
So- So it's getting ready to celebrate for next Sunday?
Yeah, I'll try to see if I can find it.
Okay, that's it for subcommittee. Minutes. Everyone have a chance to read them over? No, I'm only asking the two of you.
My guess is they probably went to where the trees are cut, you know, on the private property.
You think way up?
You know, where they,
Way up by Chestnut Hill?
yeah, I bet you,
You think way up there?
I don't know.
Is that far
I'm
away?
just guessing.
Because what time was it? Because I didn't,
Afternoon. It was, yeah, it was pretty,
I mean, just rough time, I'm just, because I was home most of the day. I was gone from 1 to about 2-ish, 2:30.
Yeah, I was gone from 3 to 5:30 and I didn't hear anything, but
yeah,
Because
it was
usually I can hear
loud
them.
and it lasted for,
Because
hour.
Chestnut Hill is pretty close to me, man, I would have heard that.
yeah, I'll
Yeah.
try to see if I can find
and if they were down by Wilson Hill Road, I would have heard it, because that's right across the river from me.
it. You could hear this.
Yeah, but again, I was gone from 3 to 5:30, so I didn't hear anything.
Anybody in that whole area could hear it.
Okay.
It was loud, it was pretty loud.
All right, you want to start, Cindy?
Motion to, accept the January 7th meeting minutes with changes.
We have to make a motion to, first.
Once we make,
Not to accept them, but
once we make the motion.
to start moving, yeah, and then we make the, then we make the changes. Oh, no, sorry. Yep. Motion to accept the January 7th meeting minutes with changes, with updates.
Second.
Motion by Cindy, second by Gina. You want to start, Cindy?
Okay. Well, so, I'm not sure how to clarify this, because, you know, I communicated to Don that since we didn't have a subcommittee meeting, he couldn't speak on behalf of the subcommittee. And so when you look at Lynn, it almost looks like she's here based on the subcommittee. So I just wanted this to be, you know,
Yeah, it needs to have her address,
yeah.
or it needs to say nothing at all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because,
Yeah, but
wanted
she,
to,
but,
to be
but,
fair, you
but she
know,
did introduce herself as part of the subcommittee,
yeah.
so
Mhm.
I recall that.
Yeah, well,
I mean, but, or then we should list it for Don too,
well,
you know, it,
Well, Don came
It's
as a private citizen,
kind
that's the
of-
way he introduced himself.
well, because I told him that he couldn't come and represent the subcommittee
Correct.
on an issue,
Right,
so,
but he could come and state that he is a member
he
of
is a
the
member,
sub-
yeah, I mean, there's no,
yeah.
But clearly say, I'm not here.
And I think he did state in one of those that he was coming as a
Where
private
does- where does-
citizen, but,
Lynn's,
Front page.
yeah, the front page. Like, also in attendance,
yeah, well, okay, because it just says, this Lynn Wentz, Horse Hill
Mhm.
Subcommittee.
Oh, she didn't give her address.
mhm,
She wrote it down,
probably in there.
yeah, she's supposed to speak it too, isn't she?
I just wanna be consistent.
Yep.
And
Well,
how we
I suppose,
do this, you know?
she did write it down, so we could, the correction I guess would be to strike from the also attendance, strike the Horse Hill nature preserve subcommittee and have her address added.
Correct.
So, it's page 1, line 21. We're gonna strike Horse Hill Nature Preserve Subcommittee and have Lynn's address from the sign-in sheet of the January 7th?
7th, yeah.
Yeah, right there, January 7th added to that line.
Yeah, and then we need to correct page 6, line 43 as well.
Yep.
Should she introduce herself that way?
She said Horse Hill Nature Preserve Subcommittee.
Mhm.
I think she intended to say she's on the subcommittee.
Right, I was just saying, could we, also of, or still, granted, it's, I guess it's supposed to be what she says, but.
Yeah.
If we added also of in
Yeah.
there, it's,
That's
me.
fine.
you okay with that? Line 43, we'll add also of in front of Horse Hill Nature Subcommittee.
Mhm.
All right, Cindy, what else you got?
So minor stuff, page 2, row 43. I think that's just a continuation, she'll be a lowercase h.
Well, is,
Or a period
or is
after
there a period
hope.
after hope?
Yeah, either one.
Which, not everything she hoped.
I would say period
Yeah.
at the
Yeah,
end of hope.
period.
See, period
At the end of line 42.
Mhm, that's good.
Okay.
And then on page 7, row 17. I think it's, however, that the issue is more extensive.
I think there is supposed to
You
be T. Oh. Over there, the issue is more.
It could be.
I think you were saying at that location, there, at that
Yeah,
location.
Should be
right,
there.
yeah.
Okay,
Over there, the issue is more extensive.
that's all I have.
Do we need any change there?
No,
I don't think
good.
so. Okay.
I have 2. On page 2, line 14, right now it says, it has that twice. I would say, replace the first that with pine. They were talking about, Mr. Littleton remarked that he had heard that there are sometimes particular minerals or nutrients in pine that they may seek out. And on page 7, line 29, rather than member Glenn, I would put Commissioner Glenn.
Oh, good catch.
I'm sorry, Jan, what's the last one again?
On page 7,
Oh.
line 29, change the word member to commissioner.
I have one correction that hasn't been covered yet. Page 3, line 15. Says, it should say the Watonic Bowman parking lot
Ah,
instead of Bowman Court.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's a totally different.
Yeah. Watonic Bowman.
So strike court out of there.
Yeah, strike
Also.
court.
Yeah, with Tom
It's WATANIC.
So I had just one comment, and I'm not sure, I should have asked it while Dawn was here. We went through, page 7, line 36. We went through a couple of years ago, there's the water department, everything was named, their name and then department.
Mm.
So the Department of Public Works was gonna change the name to the Public Works Department. So PWD is listed there, and I think they've gone back to DPW.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't believe that they're at PWD, I believe they're at DPW. Because it says here on the minutes, DPW, Town Engineer, DPW.
Mhm.
So I think that 36, depending on how and if I'd said it, I may have said it incorrectly, but that should be DPW.
PWD, according to the website.
Is it?
Public
really?
Works Department.
Because she's still got her name on her card as DPW.
It says PWD on the website, that's all I can tell you.
All right.
You know, on the memo that Dawn brought tonight, it's DPW.
Yeah, that's the thing, her business card and her address, everything is DPW. And so I'm was wondering if it's, maybe we just see if we get some clarification as to what it really is supposed to be.
Yeah. Maybe they're just using up the old business cards. Spend money, you know.
Yeah, maybe they're just saving money for next
Yeah.
time we need them printed. Yeah. They're gonna use up all the memos and all the paperwork and everything, yeah.
Exactly.
Mike, you got anything? Anybody else got anything?
Nope.
Jeannie, did you capture Dawn's changes?
No, Don was going to come up and,
Dawn, why don't you approach, please?
I just had one item on page 5, line 34. Currently reads, Mr. LaLiberty stated the lodge is not supporting the dam, e.g. very few new limbs, period. And what I remember saying was very few new limbs were observed on the dam as well as the lodge. So I would add those words as opposed to just putting a period after limbs.
Very few new limbs adjacent to the lodge or by the lodge. What do you want?
I was making the comment specifically because of the amount of limbs that were being taken off by some of the trees that were cut by the beaver. And the discussion was where they were going. And I wanted to make the comment that there were very few new limbs that were observed on the dam as well as
Is
the
being in the
lodge.
lodge, or, okay, all right, okay.
I would just say that.
On dam or lodge?
Stated that, yeah, it was just the way he just wrote it. He just spoke it as how I would change the minutes. Stated there were very few new limbs.
Mhm.
Um, By the way, Chapter 198 of the Town Charter calls it the Public Works Department, and that is the governing document,
Public Works Department.
no matter what she put on there.
Right. Yeah.
That's it, until they change that by vote. That's it,
Well, they voted to change it to PWD.
they did. And it hasn't changed back.
That was,
I was part of that. I was a counselor at the time.
yeah, that was, what's his name? It's up in Goffstown now.
Oh, Adam, you mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that was Adam, was the one that's,
I think it happened before Adam, but,
yeah, he was there before Lori, right? He was the one that did for Lori.
yeah, but it's been PWD for a long time.
Yeah. All right, so PWD.
And I was a counselor, so that's 10 years now.
Adam's been gone 6 years,
Yeah.
so. Yeah. All right, so it is PWD, so we'll leave it that, so that line, page 7, line 36, we can remove that need for clarification there. Any other changes or modifications? All right, so we have a motion and a second, and all those in favor? 600. Those minutes pass. Outstanding. Okay. Okay, we're gonna go back open to public comment. Guys, we got something to say?
Donald Liberty, and I'm going to ask a question on behalf of the subcommittee. And I happen to notice that the meetings for the subcommittee and other subcommittees aren't listed on the calendar. Is there a reason for that?
On which calendar?
The town calendar?
They're not official, they're part of this commission, they're not part of the town.
So agricultural committee is also similar to the conservation committee as opposed to a subcommittee? So subcommittees don't get recognized on the calendar then?
No, they're on our calendar. If you go to our, the outdoors, Merrimack Outdoors calendar, they're on our calendar.
Okay. Good to know. I just observed the regular town calendar. It seems,
Those are the town boards that are appointed by the town council.
okay.
Now, if they've requested a room, don't they end up on the calendar?
Well, the reason why I asked that is the community development came out with the schedule for the MCC as well as HHNP.
Yep.
And I said, okay, well, they've got all the dates here, and then I thought those dates were then gonna be put on the town calendar. And I only say this because, we talk about people maybe wanting to come to a meeting and might not necessarily know how to find out when that meeting is. And just looking at the town calendar, there seems to be a lot of room to still plug in something other than a conservation or a director's meeting.
Don, to tell you the truth, it's been years since I asked that question, and it may have been prior to our current town manager. It's how long ago? The last time I asked that question, so we can ask it again. I mean, it's not that it's particularly hard to have it put on the calendar.
Right, not asking to hide anything,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
Actually, we're welcoming people that are interested.
yeah.
Right, well, that's what I'm saying,
Right,
it's,
so
it's,
it's not our intent to hide the meeting,
Yeah,
in other
right.
words.
Yeah.
So we just,
Sure.
it's always, the calendar, the town calendar is the meetings that have been, that are from people that have been appointed by the town. So the subcommittees, we could have 100 subcommittees, and they just don't put those on there, so, it's a good question, and
Okay.
we can ask it again.
Thanks again for the positive vote to pursue further on the issue with the beavers. I think it might be educational and might lead to some other things that we might have to consider, but as members of the subcommittee, Bruce and I will be relying on information coming from Cindy that will be discussed at your conservation meetings, because I assume the individuals that are going to be going to inspect these areas are going to be doing so and reporting to you folks.
That would be the initial path, yes.
Okay. The only thing I would ask is that Cindy be allowed to convey that information
No, of course. Yeah, it's-
before having to wait for a subcommittee meeting.
Yep.
Because right now, we only meet 4 times a year, so it would be good to know.
Yeah, that would be, most likely would get a response and we'd get some kind of written response, whether it be electronic, email, or something like that, and that's something that would be made available. It's a public, by the time if it comes to me or whoever, which one of us, it's a public document. So
Okay.
it would be turned right around.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. Nothing? Okay, well, we can close public comment. Commissioner comments? Cindy? Jim?
It's been pretty cold lately, but it's also been pretty warm lately.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that the trails show it.
Yeah,
The-
they're a mess.
They're a mess. They're still a mess.
Yeah, and now they're frozen in place.
Frozen in place, right? And this next week, they're talking 50 degrees again.
Oh,
Yeah,
After
So
single
they're gonna
digits.
remain a mess again. So I'd like to see our subcommittees take an active role in declaring mud season.
yeah, and
and like closing down trails,
Oh, yeah.
as opposed to just
yeah,
putting up
if the
signs.
if the weather's above freezing,
Yeah,
I know it's nice out, but
okay.
Horse Hill's a mess.
Yeah,
I mean,
Horse
Peter
Hill
always
is a
puts the
mess.
signs up,
Yeah,
yeah. So,
basically saying use your own judgment, but
yeah, and Gateway Trail,
I don't think people.
Gateway Trail initially, particularly going into Wildlife Opening 1 around that corner and going down there is just, it looks like someone's gone through there with a rototiller.
yeah,
It's just awful.
yeah. So I'd just like to encourage our subcommittees to, don't be afraid to declare mud season in January and February. So,
We're certainly rely on the subcommittees heavily for eyes and ears on the trail.
Yeah.
And, your recommendations, the subcommittee's recommendations for what we should be doing out there takes a lot of weight, so.
Yeah.
It's an agenda item we have for our meeting.
Yeah.
To start addressing mud areas. A lot of those trails are just from original.
You want to go up to the microphone?
Come on,
Yep.
you gotta come up first.
I didn't want to hear me.
Yeah.
Still Bruce Peterson. So, one of the agenda items for our next meeting is to talk about the trails and the mud areas and how do we mitigate that? Can we maybe do little reroutes around an area? So that's the agenda item, is to identify, prioritize, and maybe try to do something about it. Now, I'm not really sure how, I don't have enough knowledge about how this works with the commission and the subcommittee, where we come up with an idea and we run it to the commission approves it. Is that how it works?
yeah, unless it's something simple,
Yeah, I mean,
simple maintenance. But if you're gonna want to reroute a trail, we should talk about it.
Yeah,
Because it might be better to see if there's a way to bring in material and raise the level of the trail. And
Sure.
then create water channels along the sides of the trail so it can eventually find its way off and
Right.
out. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
You gotta remember, we do have maps, and their trails are actually, on the map now, so they're GPS locations. So when we start changing the trails,
Changing the maps.
it has a snowball effect that may potentially have a snowball.
Yeah, I understand.
So-
I think that, based on just the comments you guys made and my observations too, it gets very muddy in there, and, like I said, a lot of those trails have been there for so long, and they were created for other reasons, and they're just eroded, they're not in a great spot, and so I think that there are some possibilities that they can be moved even slightly, and then you get out of those wet areas, but that's an agenda item we have, and so we can talk about it and start maybe the ball rolling in that area.
Yeah.
In that process.
And the world doesn't end if we close the trail for a short time. You know,
Yeah,
because
I-
there's mud season for ATVs and all that too, so, right, so.
yeah, I've seen it where we have the signs up, but people, I still see mountain bikers, on trails in the springtime that are, and I mountain bike over there, but I won't do it if it's real muddy, but they'll still go on the trails. So we can put signs up, but
Right,
it doesn't
I know.
stop people.
Yeah.
I do, you go up to the Northern Kingdom and they'll just close the trails down for
Yep.
mud season. They're all done or closed, and, maybe that's the way to do it, is just
Yeah.
in the beginning. But
So I have a couple trails that I maintain, not around here, and I don't have to do it through committee. I can be very dictative about it. And every spring, at mud season, we layer quite a bit of horse manure on them.
Oh,
And
yeah.
we put that on the sign. Trail closed. It's been manured.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
good.
And it tends to keep people off it.
Yeah.
So, the dogs love it, but, you know, that's another issue.
Yeah. I think it would be great if you can, that area is getting more and more heavily used, which I
Yep.
think is great. If you can just even create, you know, it looks like we're gonna lose a little loop to go in because along the beaver pond there, we may have to close that off, but that was always a nice loop. But to create something that people can just go in and go out and create it so that in the wet season, it isn't muddy. So try to arrange it so at least
Right.
there's something that people can go in and do a little walk into the woods and with their dogs, whatever, and come back out instead of closing the whole preserve down.
Yeah.
That would be
Also saying, because we close trails, we'll close the trails seasonally. Like this year, this one's closed this year. You're gonna
Yeah.
have to go
Oh,
from point A
yeah.
to point B by going around. And that's, you know, let it regrow, let it get some grass back in it, let it get some moss growth,
Yeah,
and it's amazing what horse manure will grow. Incredible stuff.
yeah. All right, well, thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You got anything, Cindy?
I just wanted to
Gina? Sorry.
hold this up and thank Don La Liberty for taking all of these wonderful pictures, and we made a nice collage out of it that we're bringing to the Winter Carnival. So,
That camera right over there.
that camera. So come see us at the Winter Carnival. We don't have hot dogs, but we have cool pictures, and we'll be there. It is
Beaver patties.
February 23rd. What? No hot dogs?
You can serve beaver patties.
No, we cannot.
Just a thought.
Is that like horse puckies?
You got anything, Mike?
No comment.
The maps and everything have been ordered. We have, I don't have a date on when they're gonna get them yet, but when I get them, obviously they'll come in. We ordered 3 signs. He has, he buys the Cinta now in a 4x8 sheet, so he says I can make up to 4 more signs for the same cost. So it was, it's relatively, you know, cheap. I think we kind of already said we're gonna do it, so, if anyone has any idea of some signs that we need, if you can get them to me quickly, we can have them rolled in this order, and it doesn't necessarily need to be a map, it can be something else. Maybe we can have them, you know, close the trails.
Trail closed,
Trail
right?
closed. Well, you know, but that's that kind of foam core Cinta. I don't think that's really the right
Okay, yeah.
material to leave out in the weather. I mean, it holds up well in the kiosk, but I don't think that should be out exposed.
Do we have a lot of like metal sign close signs?
Trail closed now, we
Trail
really,
close signs?
always temporary signs.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that something that we should invest in, is some metal ones?
if we're gonna, we probably should. I mean, we've got enough trails now, and we have enough, we've seen enough issues that we probably should have some relatively formidable signs that we can screw down to a, you know, some kind of post or something like that, and hammer on the ground, and so, we'll see.
Sorry, I'm putting more stuff on you too.
No, that's okay. I'll just give it to Matt, he loves having signs made. Okay, any other comments?
Motion to adjourn?
Motion by Cindy,
Second? Oh, good.
second by Steve. All those in favor?
Okay.
Yeah, so we close this at 8:26.